Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the meeting, and maybe we give 1 or 2 minutes and then we can start. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to see a number of people joining and most of our colleagues joining our session today. And I'm also honored to have Ms. Hadia, who will officiate our session. Hadia, we are going to start in a few minutes. Welcome to the meeting. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the meeting. And I see you have now a good number of people who have joined. And my name is Dr. Jabera Matogoro. I work with the University of Dodoma as a lecturer, but I also work as the CEO for the Tanzania Community Network Polytechnic College, who are the main organizer of this event. Without further ado, I would like to take this time to welcome Ms. Hadia, who will officiate our meeting today. Hadia, you can unmute yourself and then you can speak before us. Thank you so much and welcome.
Hi, this is Hadi Al-Minyawi. I'm the Afralo chair, and I would like to begin by thanking Dr. Jibera Matagoro for the opportunity to deliver the opening remarks at the third edition of Universal Acceptance Day 2025, hosted by the Tanzania Community Networks Polytechnic College and University of Dodoma. Universal acceptance of domain names and email addresses is a crucial step toward building a more inclusive internet, one that enables communities to access and use the web in their native scripts and languages. For the internet to be truly inclusive, it is not enough for content to be available in our native languages. Domain names, the very addresses that connect us to this content must also be in our own scripts. Additionally, users should have the choice to use email addresses in their preferred languages. Ensuring meaningful and inclusive internet access for all requires universal acceptance of domain names and email addresses, making it an essential step toward digital equality. I would like also to note that the Africa Regional at Large organization, AFRALO, will be conducting a regional universal acceptance day featuring four main themes. The first one is technical adoption, featuring AFRALO members' adoption experiences, and this theme is led by Dr. Matagoro. The second is sustainable capacity development, and this will be featuring the Association of African Universities. The third is DNS local industry, featuring local service providers and hosting providers. And the fourth is public policy, featuring the collaboration with UNESCO. I hope you can all join us on the day to understand the development of this ecosystem in the African region and plan the road ahead. On this note, I would like again to thank Dr. Jibera, and I would like to leave you to your session and wish you all the best. Thank you so much. And Dr. Matagoro, back to you.
Thank you so much, Hadia, and we are so honored actually to have you today. I know out of your busy schedule, you managed to find time to join us and deliver the official opening of the session. Thank you so much. And use the chat just to tell us where are you joining the meeting from. You can just mention that in the chat. If you are mentioning, maybe you can mention your region, your country, so that we are all aware of where are you connecting from. Thank you so much. So I will start the session by introducing what is a universal acceptance. And as Hadia has mentioned, universal acceptance matters because it's important that we will have a digital inclusion in the current digital space. So as we all know that United Nations sponsored the World Summit on Information and Society for building the information society global challenge in the new millennium. And the following principles were affirmed by the global community during WSIS at the Geneva Summit 2030. So we represent the people of the world assembled for the first phase of the World Summit on the Information Society, declare our common desire and commitment. So that's the principle is we need to build a people-centered, inclusive, and development-oriented information society where everyone can create, access, utilize, and share information and knowledge. Also enabling individuals, community, and people to achieve their full potential in promoting their sustainable development and improving the quality of life. This resonates the same as what Ms. Hadia has mentioned during the opening of the session. I know with me, I'm also honored to be joined by Professor Nabil, who happy just to say hi to us, Prof. And you can just mention, why do you think universal acceptance matters, especially in the African context? Welcome, Prof.
Yeah, thank you, Isabella. Thank you very much for your invitation. I'm really honored to be with you and in parallel sessions with the other ICANN groups right now. But it's always a pleasure for me to talk to you, to speak with you, etc. So my role here is to say hi for the community, for the attendees. I'm Nabil Ben Amar from Morocco. I'm the USG Vice Chair and also the Measurement Working Group Chair. Universal acceptance is something really important that we all care about, especially in Africa, where we have different languages and different scripts being used. It's mainly about the scripts and not the language here. So we need to ensure that our scripts are well presented and processed and displayed and stored in all applications. So our email addresses that are written in non-Latin scripts and domain names that are written in non-Latin scripts are accepted by all applications. So that's the main goal of universal acceptance. And now we are seeing more and more activities related to this concept and the deployment and implementation of universal acceptance that is really encouraging us all to move forward and to help any community that is seeking the help to know more about universal acceptance and to deploy it on their servers, on their applications, and everywhere. I mean, so happy to be with you and happy to hear from you. Any question, your comments, etc. What are you organizing for the UA Day? I'm really curious about this, and I will be really happy and honored to to join you if it's possible, and we will see based on the schedule. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Prof. Nabil, and for sure what you have mentioned also resonates of what we are saying, that we live in a multilingual world where global language usage is diverse. English comes third in terms of native speakers around the world, similar to what is happening in Africa region. After Mandarin and Spanish, English represents 57% of the total written content online, and the percentage is also decreasing. This also shows why it is important to embrace the universal acceptance. Within the meeting, we are also honored to have Ant, who is also joining us today. Ant helped us last year when we hosted the second universal acceptance at the University of Dodoma, where we managed to configure our system to comply with the universal acceptance. And you can unmute yourself and just say hi to us. And also, you can, I am aware I see a number of technical people joining us today. You can mention what is required by the technical expert who are joining us today to make the universal acceptance ready. Welcome, Ant.
Thanks. I find myself a little nonplussed. What is required? The software must work. That is the job of those of us who work with software. The software must work such that computers and software serve people. Regarding universal acceptance specifically, I do know the main challenges. Typically, one needs to be able to enter email addresses wherever needed. For example, when you sign up on an e-commerce site using an email address, well, Latin works. Being able to link to websites can also be a challenge. And getting software that is able to send email to and from Unicode email addresses has been a very large problem. That's changing now. All told, these are not enormous problems. It's really another day at the office, things that need to be solved. When we work together, we can do it. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ant. And it's like you are mentioning, and for you specifically, you are talking with the technical community who are responsible to carry out training and education activities to allow software developers and the project managers to address the universal acceptance related issues. But also as the technical community, we are also responsible to test and address universal acceptance related issues in our own product and service. We are also responsible in reporting bugs related to universal acceptance in other products and services that we are delivered. Thank you so much, Hans, and these are great words for us, and we are honored actually to have you in our meeting. Apart from the members who have joined, I also see Professor Abdulkarim Oreid, who is also joining us from probably Nigeria or reallocated to other places. Prof, you can just unmute yourself and say hi to us. And possibly you can also mention, why do you think a universal acceptance matters for the government? Because I know you're also working with the universities as an academia. You can also highlight what could be the role of academia for the universal acceptance in African context.
Thank you very much, Dr. Matagoro. My name is Professor Abdulkarim Oloyede. from the University of Ilorin in Nigeria. Let me first of all thank you for extending the invitation to me to join this online session. In terms of the importance of universal acceptance, I want to start with the academia because that is my constituency. I know that is also your constituency. And I also know that Professor Nabil, that is also his constituency. So I think it is important for us to highlight that. And I know that a lot of your students would be part of those that will be joining today. In terms of the importance, we need to know that the educational institution is the one that trains everybody. That is where we get our training from. And whatever we teach or whatever we learn from the university is something that we are likely going to take forward as we move on in life. It is important for us, especially because the world of domain names is actually not what it used to be. So the way we teach students basic computer science before, just introducing them to ASCIIs and introducing them to how to do programming, especially when it comes to things that have to do with the domain name and email address internationalization now, is important for us to explain this thing to them and make sure they have a good understanding of these things, that the way coding is being done in the past, especially when you know that you have just 3 letters domain name, is not the way it should be done again these days. We should also be able to tell students that it is important for you to understand that when we're talking about universal acceptance, we're not talking about language, we're talking about characters. These are things that is very, very important. Then when we're talking about the importance of universal acceptance to government, digital economy is something that every government across the world is actually is taking very important these days, because the digital economy is a way whereby government can actually diversify in everything or in a lot of things they do. Access to government facilities, access to a lot of facilities are actually going online, and it's making life easier for citizens. So universal acceptance is important because we know that our citizens, especially from different parts of the world, want to have access to different services, and also people speak different language with different characters, okay? And they would want to have access to a lot of these services, and it is important for government to also understand that universal acceptance is all about providing services to the people, making sure that this service is actually available to people when they want it. For example, if I have an email address in Arabic, I should be able to access the government website with my Arabic email address. If I have it in other characters, I should be able to. I do not have to change my email address because I want to access government services. So it is important for government to also understand that this is a way in which they can reach people. This is a way we can get more people inclusive. And again, for a lot of local languages that are probably not written in English or in ASCII characters, it is that we have special characters. It is important because the citizens will feel at home much more better that their language is actually being spoken by the internet. They have domain names that is having their own language, and that is why it is important. Thank you very much, Dr. Motagoro.
Thank you so much, Prof. Karim, and I really appreciate, as you mentioned, universities need to upgrade email system to support email address internationalization. We also need to upgrade IT curricula, as you mentioned, to include teaching and learning of universal acceptance and software internationalization related concepts. But it's important, we also need to train a faculty and the student to adopt universal practices in software development. But more important, like what we are doing today, we also need to create awareness of universal acceptance issues and solution in the local technical community. Thank you so much, Prof. And I really appreciate for having you today. With me today, I also have Chirusha, who also actually will be joining us maybe next month when we'll be holding our session on Universal Acceptance Day. So Chirufia, you can just mention, say hi to us, and possibly highlight what is it required if someone need to test whether an application or a system can support the universal acceptance. I know, for example, a university can have an admission system where it may not or may fail to recognize email addresses from other scripts, non-Latin script or other languages. So maybe you can mention what could be the consequences. For example, the university which has an admission system which used to admit students to the university and their systems are not compliant with the universal acceptance. What could be the consequences and how can one test whether this system is a universal acceptance ready or not? Thank you and welcome, Chirufia.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm not sure if I'm audible enough.
Very audible. We are enough to hear you. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever everyone is joining us from. I would like to say, first and foremost, thank you, Jabera, and everyone for joining us to this pre-session. We appreciate your time. I think to answer your question, it's very important that mainly as we advocate for internet for everyone through community networks or through advanced technology, it's very, very important that the systems that people are accessing are very diverse and very inclusive. That's why we are advocating for universal acceptance of scripts, languages, as well as the software language that is being used to write this software that people can access. When we are accessing the internet, people from diverse backgrounds, from diverse areas, are accessing the internet most of the time at the same time, but differently, people get to use the internet for different things. I saw from the first presenter, he talked about languages, that Mandarin is one of the top languages spoken in the world. But most of the machinery, most of the systems do not come in Mandarin, even if they are coming to Africa or any other country. They come in English. Even as we are accessing most of the software or even application in relation to the internet and technology, we access most of these applications and softwares in either English or Chinese or any other dominant language in the world. But it's very, very important as we are trying to bridge the digital gap to make these systems, software, and applications very accessible and diverse to everyone, so that we can bridge the digital gap. If we give people access to be able to understand the system, they should be able to understand the language that the system come with. For the university that accommodates different people from different backgrounds, it's very, very vital that a system that accommodates such numbers is diverse and inclusive and is universal acceptance ready, that the system should be able to verify information that is stored to it. It should be able to give the output of that information that is verified and is accessible, it's well read, it's well articulated by anyone who tries to access it. It's very, very important that as a system is being created, it's inclusive to everyone's background, and any scripts that's there on the internet, any scripts that are written to advance or progress any software or application or any technology as we are expanding and evolving. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And just for your information, today I also have Engineer Perez Ngoros, who used to help me on helping the technical configuration, and Mr. Bwire, who are also working with me to make sure our systems are universal access. Maybe I could just highlight what does it mean to have a universal acceptance rate, as you mentioned. But just for information, you can test if your website is a universal acceptance rate. For example, let's try this. Universal Dar es Salaam is one of the universities in Tanzania, and we can test if their system is universal acceptance rate. Take, for example, in the chat, you can see I posted a link to the Universal Dar es Salaam. You can please click the link, and then when you click the link, you will be accessing the Universal Dar es Salaam admission system, which is being used to admit a student to the university. Fun enough, the system is not a universal acceptance ready. So that means when you apply a correct Chinese email or a correct Amharic email or a correct Hindi email address, or that is a non-Latin characters, then it will not recognize that if is the valid email. And that is something that is ahead of us to help all of these universities to comply with the universal acceptance. In the slide, you can see, for example, when you click registration, you will provide first name, surname, sex, nationality, area of study, landline, permanent address, birth of country, disability. In the email address, if you put the correct email address, which is non-ASCII characters, then it will reject. It will say email address is not a valid email address. And this is what we need to correct for the University of Dar es Salaam. If you take the same case with the University of Dodoma, this is the admission system for the University of Dodoma. If you use the admission system and then try to click and provide all other details, if you put a non-ASCII characters for the email address, even if it's a valid email address, then the form will still complain. Please enter a valid email address. You can see these are the issues that we need to address for the higher learning institution in Tanzania. I also visited another university, the Institute of Rural Development in Dodoma, which is also a government-owned university. If you use the same, you can access their admission system. If you visit the same, you put all other correct information, you will also be required. The system will complain, enter an email address, simply because the systems are not universal acceptance ready. Mr. Perez, I used to call you Engineer Perez. What do you think as a technical community in Tanzania required to do to help these universities to make sure their systems are universal acceptance ready? Welcome, Engineer Perez. You can say hi to us and also explain what step do we need to take to make sure these universities make their system universal acceptance ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Hopefully I'm audible.
Sure, loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Carlos Perez. I use as a technical staffs where I work with Dr. Matogoros. I support Tanzania community, Tanzania Polytechnical College, where we started with our website to make it to be universal acceptable ready with the systems or different technical experts in Tanzania or even in the world. They need to make the systems to be universal acceptance, so as different persons they can able to access their systems with the with the languages. If it's a Chinese persons want to admit to University of Dodoma, their ASCII's characters, obvious they are not the same as English or Latin characters. So without make your systems to be universal acceptance rates, that means they can hinder them to navigate with your systems. So I'm going to show you some our works where we implement as examples. This is a website for the Tanzania Community Network Polytechnics College.
Engineer
where
Perez,
we
you can project, you can share your screen. I'm giving the access, please.
okay, fine.
We are not able to see screen. Yes, please, go ahead.
Yeah. Yes. As you can see here,
Not yet
I
displayed.
already not yet displayed.
Yes, please share the screen.
Okay, I do. Now you see it, eh?
Yes, we see it. Thank you.
Yeah. As you can see, this is pardon, please, sorry. This is our website where we developed, and with this with these websites, it's also we connect it with our online application systems where the students can able to sign up so as they can apply for a course. With these fields here, we try to make it to be our systems to be universal acceptance ready. They say I want to write the Chinese names. I'm trying to
Engineer Perez,
convert
you can use
yes.
You can use even the email that I also shared in the chat if you want a Chinese email. In the chat.
Okay, fine. Yeah. Yes. Right here. I just write the name here. Just write that name, the date of birth of that student. Let's say yes, and the email address of that person's and the phone number. They say so these students with these emails, you can able to sign up to our systems because yes. the students have been successfully registered to our systems. And when I log in as an admin, I'm trying to sorry. When I as a staff and the log in as an admin, I can
So what you're trying to explain, Engineer Perez, is that for the registration form, the email address, despite of the fact that it is on the Chinese, it also need to work, right?
yes.
And also,
because
as you also mentioned in the chat, it's important that when you are testing, you can also make sure if the system is also
the
working.
emails. Yeah, yes. Yeah, even if I can get the access of these emails, maybe I can log in. Of course, the password has been sent through this email, so as I can use it, and I can able to log in and to see student profiles. Maybe I can demonstrate here my PPT, so as I can show you as a demo of what we did to our reports. Based on the reports, this is okay. Sorry, please. Yes. As you can see here, we implement this student. He can able to sign up here, and then even he can use his names and the emails that has been created with these phone numbers, or even if he can able to sign up, and then with that emails that he used to sign up, he'll able to be able to be submitted in administration panels, and also that student he can able to fill the forms and even to submit the to print out the informations submitted in his profiles. I think that is all that I do prepare for today.
Thank you so much, Engineer Perez, and we really appreciate for the technicalities that, sometimes the technicals you might find when you want to demonstrate sometimes fail to work as one intended. So we really appreciate for your demonstration. And maybe I also wanted to check. For example, if you have an email address and you want to check if your email address is universal acceptance, or maybe it has accepted the internationalized email address internationalization. So in the chat, I have provided a script which you can use to check if your email is a universal acceptance read. Maybe we give 1 or 2 minutes. If you have your email address, then try to click the link in the chat and then test if it's universal acceptance read. Maybe you give 1 or 2 minutes and then you can respond in the chat. Is it a universal acceptance read? Maybe I can also demonstrate that. For example, you can just put any email address there. For example, you put my UDOM email address, which is jabera.matogoro@udom.ac.tz. Will it do UDOM email address are configured to accept email address internationalization or not?
For TCNPC,
for the University of Dodoma email address.
For the University of Dodoma. Okay.
Yes, I can demonstrate that from my end. Let me do that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. For example, this is the browser. We'll put this one. You can also do the same. For example, if you have the email address in your Rocco domain, you can check whether the service provider that gives you a service has configured the universal acceptance. For example, this is my screen. This one. Let me share the actual screen. Perez, you can stop sharing, then I can share from my end.
Okay.
Okay. For example, I enter my email address here. I just want to check if it is universal. I have configured for the internationalized email address. For example, I put my email for the UDOM is jabera.matogoro@udom.ac.tz. If I click check the address, then it will take some few minutes and then you will see the results. Email address internationalization support is not declared by the server. So let us see what result do you see if you use your local email address from your end. Let's see this from Perez. What result have you found, Perez?
Pardon, please.
When you test buire.bituro@tcnpc.info.
TCNPC, yes.
Is it EAI support declared or not declared?
It's declared.
Thank you so much. What are you getting, Korig? I see people in the chat. Benjamin, Edward, Herman, Kabipe, Nema, Oxtra, Shija, Tohil, I see you there. When you test the Dunia Moja email address, is it universal acceptance and email address internationalized configured or supported? Email address internationalization, is it supported? For example, if you test maybe Hussein@duniamoja.ke.tz, I'm not sure, but you know your correct email address. Is it configured to support email address internationalization? We would appreciate to hear from you, Tahil. You can unmute and speak. Thank you. Tahil, are you there? If you are speaking, you are muted. We can't hear you.
I'm testing it, Daktari. Can you hear me?
Thank you so much. Yes, we can hear you now.
I'm testing it and getting back to you.
Thank you so much, Herman. Sangiwa, if you have a local email address, you can use the link that we had shared in the chat to check if it is universal access. Maybe email address internationalization is configured. I can share the link here again. Just if you joined it, you can check if your email address is in international, has support internationalized email address for your email server. Thank you, Herman. Twahili is not declared. Wow. Thank you. That means, Twahili, we still have more work to do at your mail server. The same to Herman. What others are saying? Kabipe, if you have an email address for the maybe a local domain, you can try to test and then tell us, is it supporting internationalized domain email address or not? Nema, you can also do the same. Shija, Venus, if you have that. So is the universal acceptance is not a fiction. It is something that is affecting us a lot. Oxtra, yes, it is it's support. Thank you so much and congratulations for that. So for
my personal email, which is hosted by Gmail, is supported.
Wow, thank you so much and congratulations. Of course, email have already complied with the universal acceptance. That means, Twahili and other colleagues, we still need to have a lot of work to push more other service providers also to comply with the universal acceptance. Actually, if your email address is not supporting the email address internationalization, then we are missing out a larger portion of the market because you can't receive a Chinese email address. You can't also receive maybe a Hindu-based email address, Amharic, Arabic, and many others. So that means there are huge market of demand and customers that are left ahead. Yes, for the Gmail, it will always support that.
Hi, Dr. Matogoro. For me, it is also supported, the IRDP.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. But for the ARDP, from the previous presentation, we noted the admission system is not universal acceptance ready.
Yes, yes. Yes, I noted that also too.
That means I remember IRDP has attended to a number of events for the universal acceptance, and that means we still need to do more work to make sure for the admission system support the universal acceptance. It's unfortunately, and maybe for the ARDP and the other universities may be comfortable, but a big university like University of Dodoma, where we are also offering Chinese, Arabic, and many other programs, may require to do that, because you can imagine, how do the Chinese and Arabic students enter to the university? Do they apply through the same admission system? And if yes, that means they always be forced to create a text-based email address, which is not correct. Twahili, I see your hand. You can speak and contribute. Thank you.
Now, the Dunia Moja domain is hosted by one of our ISPs. So what do I need to have the ISP do so that it can take the international emails? What do I need to do on my end?
Thank
Sorry,
you
I
so
had
much.
actually stepped out. I had gone for prayers. So I
Thank you
didn't
so
get
much.
part of the.
Yeah, Chirufia, can you respond that quickly? What is, as a client of the email address, what can Twahil do if he wants the provider to comply with the universal, maybe email address internationalization? Chirufia, if you are there, I'm not sure if you are, if you are speaking, you are muted. Okay, maybe as Twahil, what you can do first is to request the service provider to comply with the universal acceptance. That means if your friend from Chinese send you a Chinese email address, then you will no longer receive that email address. That means you might lose connection and friendship from a friend in the other part of the world. So complying is what, as a technical community, we are trying to push. We can also help other companies and organizations to comply with the universal acceptance. And of course, that is the purpose of this appreciation that we are preparing before the Universal Acceptance Day, which is scheduled on March 20th next month. So maybe I also had a few practices from Kahoot. Maybe I can ask some few game. I can play some few game. Go to kahoot.it. Let me share that in the chat. I'm asking a few questions just to test if we are all together. Go to kahoot.it. So go to your browser and go to kahoot.it, and then it will request you a code to access. Then type the code that is displayed in the chat, in the presentation. So maybe I can add here the code 193 199.3. Go to kahoot.it, and then when it asks you the code, type that code, and then you can respond to those few questions which are there. If you join, then I'm able to see. I'm also joining to Kahoot. To me, show here. Yes. This is Kahoot.
Is selling the game has ended.
Jina langu ni Joy Limo, natoka Uasin Gishu County na ninahusika na
Did you manage to choose or you faced challenges?
It's not giving any question, Matogoro.
Not showing any question?
Not showing any question, at least on my side.
Oh, let me try it. Let's go on the second one. It seems like no one have chosen. So we are now going to the second question. Let me know if you see the question. The second question is asking, what does EAI enable means? The red one is multilingual email. The yellow one is email translation. The blue one is ask only email. And the green one is new email providers. Do you see the question?
I can't see the questions on my end. I'm only able to see the shapes and the colors, I think, for the answers.
you really need to check, because that's why I'm reading that if the answer is the green one, then you point on you click on the green one, because for you can only see the colors. For example, the question is asking, what does EAI enable means? The red one is multilingual email. The yellow one is email translation. The blue one is ask only email. And the green one is new email providers. You can choose any of the color of the 4 colors. Wow, I see many got, was the winner. Yes, at least for this one was correct. And the next one is Musa, and the third one is THK. Then we go on the next question. I think the third question will be now, I think most of us, we are now familiar. You just listen on the instruction that I'm giving out, and you click on the correct colors that you see in the boxes. So the next question is a true and false. So we say that universal acceptance ensures that all valid domain names and the email address works in all software applications. The blue one is true, the red one is false. So you can click one of those in terms of true and false. Hi, you can click any of those 2 options.
The question again.
Time is up, and then let's see. Wow. Now this time we have Musa as the top scores, and the second is THK and Many and Oxtra. Now we are now finishing up one more question. So listen to the question very careful and choose the color that represents the answer that you think is correct one. So I can read out the question. It is a true and false question, so it will have 2 colors. The question is asking, email address internationalization allows only ASCII-based email address. Now, the question is it true or false? If it is true, it is the green color. If it's false, the red color. So you can click any of those 2. The question is asking, email address internationalization allow only ASCII-based email address to function only. Is it true or false? If it is true, you will click on the true color. If it is false, you will click the red color. Let's see who is the winner. Wow, it's now ending. Let's see. Wow, this time we have, I'm not sure if you can see the scores. Congratulations, Musa. Wow, congratulations. And the second one is THK, and the third one is men. Thank you so much. Wow, it was very exciting. Are you able to see the slide? Yes, Korik? Are you there? Yes, this was the... Yes, yes. Now, this was the challenge that we had in Kahoot. So we had Musa, who scored #1 with 4,008 points. And the second one was THK. I think this is Twahil, who scored 4,322. And the third one was Manny. Can we clap hand for these three winners? And congratulations for making it up. This means people are following up on the presentation. Okay, so now we can work to, so of course, as a recap, what is a universal acceptance? While the DNS has evolved, the checks used by many software applications to validate domain names and the email address remain outdated. In addition, not all portals are primed for the opening of user account with the related email address, leaving many people unable to navigate the internet using their language and online identity of choice. Considered a technical compliance best practices, universal acceptance solves this issue by ensuring all valid domain names and the email address, regardless of script, language, or character length can be used equally by all internet-enabled application, devices, and softwares. So this is what we are trying to discuss in this conversation. And for sure, I really appreciate for those who participated on the game, and we are able to have the winner for the game, which is an indication that people are able to follow up on the conversation. Why does universal acceptance matter? Because achieving a universal acceptance ensures every person has the ability to navigate and communicate on the internet using their chosen domain names and email address that best aligns with their interests, business, culture, language, and script. Universal acceptance can also help to support a diverse and multilingual internet, enable greater competition, innovation, and consumer choice, but also it creates a business opportunity and offer career advantage for developers and system administrators. It also assists government and policymakers in reaching their citizens. Imagine if it's maybe an application for visa, and then you also receive tourists from different countries with different email addresses in different language and script. That means if the tourism kind of or visa-based application is not a universal acceptance ready, that means you will always miss people with non-ASCII character email address, which is meaning you're also missing a business out there. So it's important for the organization to comply with the universal acceptance. What is our call to action? We emphasize IDNs contribute to sustainable development through the promotion of greater internet accessibility and the use in a local language, but also the need to continue to implement a technical solution to enhance the implementation of IDNs. It also, we recognize that the role played by the government, technical community, and other stakeholders in advancing multilingualism, including the introduction of internationalized domain names. The importance of the community engagement and information sharing like what we are doing to get a better understanding of the existing challenges and to support solution, particularly in developing countries. So it's very important to have more and more information session and awareness session like this within the African context. We also invite member states and sector members to consider how to further promote the adoption of universal acceptance in the respect of IDNs and collaborate and coordinate with relevant organizations and stakeholders in enabling the use of IDN in the internet. So this section was very important because we also need to create more awareness within our community. As Twahid was mentioning, I now have an email address which is not email address internationalized compliant. Then what do I need to do? The first one is to inform the email provider that your email address is not EAI ready. So they need to comply to that. And finally, you will be able to get email address from your Chinese friend, from Al-Maliki friends, and many other non-ASCII users. So what is required? ICANN community organize to promote universal acceptance readiness global, and also including universal acceptance steering committee, where I also work as the technical vice chair for the universal acceptance technical group or working group. So all of this is to make sure that we organize outreach to raise awareness on universal acceptance issues, but also we conduct detailed studies to identify technical gaps and also determining solution to address the technical gaps. For example, what we are doing is very important, and we really need to make sure that we have such kind of events in our region. So who can help achieve universal acceptance? Sure, we need technology enablers, technology developers, email software and service providers, government policy makers, and academia has a role to play. As we wind up, I can stop there and welcome any other comment or question from the floor. Thank you. Yes, Twahil, you can proceed.
Would you be sharing the presentation and recording?
Sure. I will share the presentation and the recording. I also see Twahil comment, what present do we get for good performance? Of course, as we mentioned, complying means you also expand your business processes to include many other customers that are left behind. Imagine if you have a friend with Arabic email address and cannot reach to you, then that means you are missing a lot. Any other questions from the floor? You can comment if you have any. Mayaya, we appreciate. We see that you are connecting from Tabora, Tanzania. Welcome, and we appreciate for having you today. Kennedy Chaura, do you have any observation, comments? You can unmute and speak to us. And also, Oxtra, you can have Oxtra Venance, you can unmute and speak any reflection that you see from the today presentation. Kenneth, if you are speaking, you are muted. You can unmute and speak. Thank you, Edward, for your comment. Oxtra, you can unmute and comment. I see Kennedy was not able to speak.
Hello, can I have a chance?
Yes, you can go next, Benjamin.
Yeah, thank you, Doctor. I wish to have a clarification because I have seen this, the issue I was trying to learn throughout the presentation, because this is not my area, and I'm just a mere lecturer, so it is not my area of expertise. I do facilitate my area is statistics and mathematics, but I was happy to learn. And I realized that maybe this aspect is very crucial in some aspect, and not only for academic institution, but the other institution too. For example, the institution dealing with tourism industry, the institution dealing with business aspects, and the other aspects which requires a wider aspect of being, for example, accessible to various stakeholders from around the world. So I was asking myself, for example, considering the case of Tanzania, if you can check to see if this problem is really a wider problem or country-wise, specifically in Tanzania, referencing to Tanzania, and then see if you experts, specifically to ICT area, whereby you can come with intervention, and that intervention can emanate from the aspect which you have realized here, that these aspects are not common to most of us, and we are using these aspects such as email and the website, but we are not sure that are they universally accepted as far as today's topic was concerned.
Thank you so much.
And it might be, adding to that, it might be a gap also, or an opportunity, in other words, for you, specifically those who are experts in this industry, specifically ICT experts.
Yes, I actually assigned one of my master's students to do that, and unfortunately, Mr. Bwire was not able to join today, but we have started doing the analysis, actually, to understand the status quo, where we will subject almost 1,000 websites in Tanzania, and then we try to see how many of those websites are universal acceptance ready. And I know the candidate is also a software developer, so we will also engage these owners of these websites to make sure that their systems are universal acceptance ready. So that's the work that we're also doing. And I know we also have many number of ICT experts from IRDP who attended last year event. So I think we will also consult them and try to see what we can do. Because if you can imagine an institution like IRDP, thinks that you don't have the Chinese and Arabic, but other universities offer those courses. That means a student with Arabic email address cannot submit admission application to the university. And that means is also rejected to join the university. Otherwise, that student is forced to register a text-based email address so that he can be able to make the application, which is also not good. So I think this is something that we really need to advocate and maybe train more technical and software developers so that they are able to comply to the universal acceptance, and then so that we are not able to miss out all of these candidates. You also mentioned the fact that tourism and visa, but we also have the TIC, where we receive Tanzania Investment Center, where we receive a number of investors with different email addresses. That means we also need to make sure that our system comply so that we don't miss an investor because he has the email address which is not supported with our systems. Twahiri, I see you, your hand. You can go next. Welcome.
If I may ask, as considering this CIA, how many emails so far have been created in other languages apart from text-based emails? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, there is a report, but as I mentioned in the presentation, Twahir, that English is almost the second language, the third. In the email, in the beginning, I mentioned that. I wanted to show that presentation here. You see, global language usage is diverse. English comes third in terms of native speakers around the world, after Mandarin and Spanish. So English represents almost 57% of the total written content online, and the percentage is decreasing. So that means you can see the native English speakers, and you can also compare with Arabic, Hindi, Bengali, Portuguese, Russian, Japanese. And all of these, they have email addresses. So we are missing out the market because of the misconfiguration. I'm not sure, Twahir, if that responds to the question that we are asking.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I see comment from Shija, impressive and help presentation, like to learn more on this concept. Sure, Shija. We are actually here to maybe deliver more sessions. And actually, I will also invite you to our third Universal Acceptance Day, which will be hosted by the University of Dodoma in 28th March next month. And then we'll have a full day. And we also have speakers from outside Tanzania joining us to the University of Dodoma. Chirufya, who is also part of this conversation. I'm not sure if Chirufya is still with us. Let me see. Chirufya, are you there?
Hi, Jabera, I'm here.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I stepped out for a minute.
Good. Okay, I saw. So yeah, so we also have Chirufya, and Chirufya have also had a number of questions from colleagues in the presentation or in the meetings, and they're asking what do we need to do? For example, Twahiri was asking, yes, I have confirmed my local email address with the local domain names is not email address. It does not support email address internationalization. So as a user, what do I need to do? So of course, we also mentioned that is first, you can approach them and inform them. And then the second is also to engage the technical team of that company so that they can also enable their systems. Because if you have an email address which cannot receive Mandarin or Spanish, Arabic, Hindu, Bengali, Portuguese, Russian, Japanese, then you're also missing communication out of these communities, which is also important. And of course, it also means that you are missing business out of these communities. Maybe if you have any other comment, and I have also
I'm sorry, Doctor.
Benjamin,
I'm sorry, Dr.
you can go
Matogoro.
next. Thank you.
I'm sorry. I was just curious about the data which you gave us about the language, Matlingo World. My curiosity is why consider native speakers? Because if we consider so, does it bring the reality of the usage of the languages, for example, English being number 3, by only considering native speakers? Why the language can be spoken by other persons who are not native speakers?
Yes, so of course, you can confirm the source as it is there. So you can confirm on that. But what we are trying to mention and the general pictures that we all need to take as a key takeaway is that English is not the only language spoken global. If you compare the number of native speakers for the languages, then English become the third one. Then the message that we need to take out of this conversation is that we also have many other languages, and which also being able to have the email addresses in these native languages or in these languages, which we may not trade with them because our systems are not universal acceptance ready. And that means we are also missing market out of this community. Imagine if you have a friend in Hindu who is having an email address in Hindi only, then that means we are also missing those kind of communication with those colleagues. And if you also have a friend who have a Portuguese email address, then if they send an email address to you, you will not be able to receive that email address simply because it is a non-Latin character email address. So if we enable our email addresses to accept and recognize many other languages, that means we also expand the scope of our communication, and also we expand the business market in our communication system.
Okay, I get you, Doctor. So the idea is that these are the person we are targeting, with whom they are speaking other languages, so that if you have a business or any kind of activity, you need also for them to access such a kind of activity.
Sure, you mentioned it correctly.
Thank you.
For example, you can see global, what we call the internationalized domain name. You see many other languages. So if you have your email address which does not support all of these, that means you are also missing out a huge market of people outside there.
Oh, wow, I'm happy. It was a wonderful event, a wonderful opportunity to have this kind of knowledge and skills. This is very important, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Benjamin. And we are proud and honored to have you today. And probably also be invited on next month. We will be having a face-to-face session at the University of Dodoma. You can just watch out to my social media and many other platforms. But also, I will be inviting, maybe sending an email to all people who registered, because on the registration, we received over 200 email applications who registered for this event. I know some of them, because of time zone and many other commitments, they might not be able to join us, but I will also share the email, the recording and the PowerPoint to all people who registered for this event.
Thank you, Dr. so much, because you sent it to me personally, so I saw the necessity of attending, and we are still in the office. We were waiting for this opportunity, and it was educative and it was helpful enough.
Thank you so much. Oxtra, you have comment? I see your hand.
Yes, I have some question to ask.
Welcome.
Most of us uses Gmail domain, but there are some people till now uses Yahoo domain, e.g. somebody at yahoo.com as a Gmail. Does such domain support universal acceptance?
Thank you so much. Chirufia, you can respond to that if you are still available.
Sorry, I didn't get the question.
He's asking that most of the candidates or people are using the Gmail email address, but there are still people who are using Yahoo email address. So he's asking, does Yahoo comply with universal acceptance? And if not, what needs to be done?
Currently, Yahoo does not comply with universal acceptance readiness, but most of the Gmail accounts do comply. I think what needs to be done has already been mentioned by Jabira. So I think there's need to go to Yahoo and talk about why they are not universal acceptance ready. I think most importantly is to make them aware that they're not and try to find ways that they can comply by making that email domain to be UA ready. Jabira also mentioned previously, it's very, very important. I think one step that we are taking here in Zambia is to first build awareness. We don't really want to reach their neck and more like, oh, you're not universal acceptance ready, be universal acceptance ready. No, we are trying to highlight the importance of universal acceptance first. It becomes easier to influence someone to be UA ready. Most of these institutions do not see the importance of having email servers that are email ready, that support universal acceptance. It's very, very important to share awareness, highlight the importance of these things being readily available, most especially to these institutions that are, like startups, these institutions that are just starting up. It becomes easier for them. They're an old institution in transitioning. That's why I think for Google, they have taken it seriously. It's very prominent even when it comes to translation. Most of my email addresses, if I receive an email in Spanish, I'm familiar with Spanish. I do speak basically. I can receive an email in Spanish and it to be automatically translated to English unless I prompt it to, change back to Spanish, which is, some of the ways we can highlight of, something being universally diverse. I think it does the same for Spanish and French. And you can tell that in the back end, in the software, this thing has been programmed to do this work. And considering that I'm an English speaker, I receive most of my, like 99% of my emails are in English. It goes automatically to translate my email in English because it knows maybe it's one of the languages that I prominently speak. Then it offers me an option to translate back to Spanish just in case I want to go back to Spanish. So it's just the same thing with universal acceptance. These having email addresses that are universally acceptable already. And I think, currently some of the Yahoo emails are changing to Gmail to Yahoo. I think most of the time I have an experience where it's, the emails are not really going through and it's Gmail to Gmail. That's why most people who have a Yahoo account will also have like a Gmail account. You have two accounts. It's very, very prominent. It's very, very important. You can even write to them. I think they have support. You write to them, you share this is what I believe, this is what's really going on, this is why it is important. That way you nudge them a little bit. Eventually, you just get to highlight the importance. And I do believe as we get together as a region, as a continent, eventually as we're heading in the right direction, it becomes easier as CSOs, NGOs, private sectors, multi-stakeholders come together, and then we get to highlight why universal acceptance is important and why it's very important to create multilingual is something like a digital inclusion that is diverse and includes all languages. I hope I tried to answer your question.
Thank you so much, Chirufia, and we are honored to have you. And for those who are joining us, Chirufia will be joining us at the University of Dodoma next month. So she will be, of course, Chirufia will be traveling from Zambia, right?
Yes, I'll be honored. I should just find nice food. I'll be honored to come to Tanzania.
Yes, in Dodoma you have, of course, fried chicken, local chicken, very delicious. We actually waiting to have you here in Dodoma.
I'm very much excited. It's very exciting to visit other African countries. I've had my share of Rwanda and Kenya as well, and I think I'm even telling myself why I haven't had an opportunity to travel to Tanzania, because Tanzania is just nearby. We do share a border here.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, so finally we are now meeting now through the universal acceptance. Maybe a message a message that I also wanted to mention. I know some of my students are part of this conversation. For example, if you join universal acceptance technical community and you become a universal acceptance ambassador, you also get opportunity like what Chirufia is getting. The Chirufia trip will be covered, and then she will join us, and then she deliver the training, but also networking and extending her social capital. So that means joining the universal acceptance movement, and then you also get exposed to the global community. So we really honored Chirufia to have you, and we can't wait to meet you in person.
Thank you so much, Jabera. I can't wait to meet everyone in person as well. I'm really excited. I do hope I get to, move around Tanzania and see the diverse culture.
Yeah, and I also see people from Kondoa. I see Jacqueline Richard, and Kondoa is one of the best locations that you can also move around. But you also have many other national parks like Mikumi, Tarangire. So if when you are booking, so you can spend maybe 1 or 2 days, maybe you can make sure on your return flight, you have some few extra days to move around in Tanzania.
Definitely, but I think me and my colleagues are also planning to travel for the internet governance, the one in Africa.
Yes, and it will be held in Zanzibar, I think.
It will be held in Zanzibar?
Yes, yes.
Oh, we had Arusha, we had Dodoma as well.
Okay, maybe I think the venue have not yet confirmed, yeah, but we will keep following up so that we also make sure that our community are also attending the same.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me today. It's been an honor, and I don't think I want to say a lot. I do hope I'll get to say a lot when I meet you guys in person next month. Thank you so much, Jabera and the team. I appreciate the work that is being done.
Thank you so much, and
I think I myself will be having our universal acceptance in April. So we do hope that you guys will be able to join us. It will be both physically as well as virtual, as well as a pre-event next month. Details are yet to be shared. So I would like to have you as well, where you can share your ideas to our members that will be joining us locally here in Zambia.
Yes, sure. Mayaya, Oxtra, Jacqueline, Kabipe, Benjamin. You can join Twahiri. You can join Chirufe in Zambia, and also get You also interact with the community in Zambia on the same topic. So this is a community. So you can just move around and support others, like what Chirufe is doing. She got her trip covered to join us. Then once you are an active member in the universal acceptance ecosystem, then you can also you can apply as an ambassador. And I also wanted, maybe as we wind up, Chirufia, to mention, I think it's important to mention some of the opportunities that are available within ICANN. For example, when you get involved, you can join as an ICANN fellow, or you can become the next gen program, where every year, in a year, I can hold global meetings. I think the upcoming one is going to be happening in Washington, Chirufia, I think, in Washington, in USA. And then you can visit the ICANN website, and when you are an active member, then you can be able to move around. I actually benefited from this. I joined ICANN 59 in Dublin, Ireland, and I also joined ICANN 58 in Copenhagen, Denmark, and many other ICANN like Marrakesh in Morocco, ICANN 82 in Rwanda, Kigali. I also joined ICANN in South Africa. So when you become part of this ICANN community, then you also get opportunities to have your flight covered, accommodation, and then you also engage with the global community around the ICANN movement. But there are also many other opportunities, like when you are part of the ICANN, you can become a fellow. You can also become access to many other opportunities, like becoming a UA ambassador, like what Chirufe is doing. And you can move around many other countries to support, because we now celebrate Universal Acceptance Day globally, but many other opportunities are being shared. Maybe for the interest of time, I can also share if maybe one need to get this Universal Acceptance schedule event. You can just visit this calendar, and then you can also choose which event do you want to join, like what Chirufe is mentioning. I share here in the chat. Yes, here you can see the Universal Acceptance Day. So for example, for us, the University of Dodoma, you see our events in the chat. For example, there is an event in Peru, Tonga, Togo, Namibia, Rwanda, Kenya, Cameroon, Argentina, Thailand, St. Vincent, and Portugal, Lesotho, Dominican Republic, India, Costa Rica. And the one for the United Republic of Tanzania, you see our event being mentioned there, yeah, which is 28th of March next month. So you also see other events like in Uganda, the Kabale University is joining, is organizing, in Tunisia and Spain. All of these are the global events. You can join any of these events, and they are freely available for the event. Maybe before we wind up, I can just I know we still have all the videos, but before we end up.
Introducing Speechalo, the most natural sounding text to speech software on the market. Hey, I'm Joey.
So I wanted actually, before we wind up, to play at least one video. Yes, this one. So maybe I can take up a few more minutes for you before we end up the meeting.
Hello, everyone. I'm Nathan Wadia, Vice Chair of Universal Acceptance Steering Group. Universal Acceptance, or UA, ensures that all domain names and email addresses are accepted and processed correctly by the Internet applications and systems. It's about making sure that every domain name and email address, regardless of its script or length, is recognized and fully functional across all digital platforms and services. To me, universal acceptance means inclusivity and accessibility in the digital space. It's about breaking down barriers and enabling users from diverse linguistic and cultural backgrounds to fully participate in the online world without facing technical obstacles. UA has many benefits. It enables users from around the world to access online services and communicate effectively in their native language. It facilitates economic growth and innovation by removing technical barriers that hinder the adoption of new TLDs and domain names in non-Latin scripts. It improves the user experience by reducing instances of email and website rejections or error messages due to UA-related issues. And it strengthens the resilience and stability of the internet by promoting interoperability and compatibility among different systems and platforms. The Rajasthan government initiative to provide a free email address to all citizens, known as Rajmail, is a great example of UA. By offering email address on an IDN, Rajasthan.Bharat, the government is ensuring that all citizens, regardless of their linguistic and cultural backgrounds, can utilize and access digital services effectively. The Rajmail initiative serves as a successful case study of universal acceptance implementation at the regional level, demonstrating how government can leverage UA principles to enhance digital accessibility and inclusivity. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Satish and I live in India. This question is often asked as to why is universal acceptance one of the cornerstones of the internet today and for the future? The world is very diverse in terms of languages, writing systems, internet to reflect, to be inclusive of this diversity. It must support different writing systems while creating its unique identifiers such as URLs and domain names and email IDs. Unfortunately, today's internet does not work like this. This is an ideal that is not yet supported. So I would say that all stakeholders, whether it's government or the civil society or business or technical community, should come together to achieve universal acceptance for an inclusive future tomorrow. Thank you.
Many people around the world are currently excluded from experiencing the full benefits of the internet simply because they are unable to use a domain name or email address of choice in their language and script. Universal acceptance is a technical requirement that ensures all valid domain names and email addresses, regardless of language, scripts, or length, can be used by internet users and accepted by all internet-enabled applications, devices, and systems. Universal acceptance is a gateway to a more inclusive and multilingual internet and is key to unlocking the potential of new GTLDs to foster competition, consumer choice, and innovation in the domain name industry.
My name is Raymond Wanaka from Accra, Ghana. I'm the founder and president of Pegatron. Why is UA important for the African continent to be serious about it? It is very important because Africa is the continent that has the largest number of local languages. Unlike in other continents where they could proudly say they have English as the mainly spoken language, Africa is not the same. We have a lot of different local languages, and it is important we participate in universal acceptance because this will enable us to use our various local languages on the internet with regards to domain names and email addresses. So it is very important for the African continent to be engaged in UA activities. I call on all Africans to play a critical role to ensure their systems are UA compliant and also to engage in the various working groups of UA. And if you want to know more about UA, please visit our website, which is the uasg.tech. Come on board, let's make it work. Thank you.
My name is Manal Ismail, Chief Expert Internet Policies at the National Telecom Regulatory Authority of Egypt. Universal acceptance is crucial for a seamless multilingual experience on the internet, particularly in this digital era. It is challenging because we need to work on the awareness of both the supply and the demand at the same time, and because it needs very wide deployment before it bears its fruits. But it's definitely worth the effort to make the internet more inclusive by allowing multilingual and variable length domain names work seamlessly on the internet. We owe it to those who need it, so please make sure your systems are UA ready and keep the awareness spreading.
I can, with the community members with language expertise, have made a big effort to get ready to bring in the languages they use into the domain name space. Now it's a time to make sure your systems certainly accept the domain names and the email addresses with all languages. Visit uasg.tech for technical resource and join us for the genuine multilingual internet.
Universal acceptance ensures all domain names and email addresses work flawlessly across any device or software. This principle has been at the forefront of my advocacy for over 25 years, long before I coined the phrase. The next generation of the internet is an international one. For a truly inclusive internet, systems need to recognize the richness of different languages and scripts. Users deserve domain names and email addresses that reflect their identity. Simply put, UA opens the door to the next billion users and is a critical part of digital inclusion.
Thank you so much. Can we clap hand for the wonderful colleague of sharing the experience? And you can actually access these videos from the link that I've just shared in the chat. And Korik, thank you so much for joining me today. And I will also be able to share the slide and everything that we communicated today. Without further ado, I would like to take more chance to give chance to Twahil, who is part of this conversation today, to just give offers the official open closing remark. Twahil, you can just say a few words before we close the session today. Karibu-san. I know you are joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. Oh, is it Kisumu or Mombasa? You can just tell us. Oh, Kirufi. Thank you. Twahil, are you there? If you are speaking, probably you are muted. Oh, sorry. So Twahil is on Mosque? Okay. Maybe I can give that for Mr. Benjamin from IRDP to talk about and to give just an official closing remark. Just few words, Benjamin, just to close the session. Karibu-san.
Oh, thank you very much, Doctor, for the opportunity. I think, as I have previously stated, that it was an occasion whereby we had an opportunity to learn from some of the gurus in this area. And I think, as also in particular, I am a member of a management team at IRDP. So hoping that I will transfer these knowledges also to my fellow ICT staff from IRDP, specifically the head of the respective unit, but also we as an academicians, and as far as we are an academic institution, we have seen the importance of the presentation of today in various aspects. So I would like, on behalf of the fellow members with whom we have participated from various parts of the world, I have seen some fellow members from various parts, from, you said, Kenya, from also, one of them was from Zambia,
Yes,
Is
from
it Zambia?
Yes.
It
We
was
also
Zambia.
we also had the Hadia from Egypt. We also had Professor Nabil from Marrakesh, Morocco. And we also had many other, Alan, I think was from Europe, and many other people who joined. Of course, we had a lot of diversity for the people who joined today.
Yeah, it was a good experience, really. So we hope also, as I said earlier in my comments, that I remember I accessed this opportunity through my phone. You sent me an invitation privately, and that's why I saw the importance of that. Let me participate in this occasion, and then it might help me to also learn more. As also have seen it in more importance because currently we are shifting from the training or learning mechanism, the old-fashioned mechanism, whereby we have to use ICT. And also for the case of, for example, publication, now the journals are online. Therefore, the accessibility and the issues we are discussing here were very important for us to make sure that we are universally accepted also. For example, those issues which you are doing academically, publications and the journals, also we have to make sure that they are accessible worldwide. So it was very important in this occasion to attending, and they made us also expand our scope in terms of skills. So thank you very much for this occasion. And on behalf of our fellow, we thank you very much, Dr. Matogoro, for organizing this and also for inviting us. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, and really we appreciate Benjamin from Institute of Rural Development in Dodoma for joining us, and we are looking forward to having you on our face-to-face session scheduled next month on 28th, where we'll be having Chirufya from Zambia and many other colleagues who will be joining us next month. So I will also extend the same invitation. If you have time, please join us, and then we are going to have a wonderful session. This is just a pre-session. So on next month, we'll be having the technical know-how. How do we configure our system to comply with universal acceptance? We have seen the Universal Dodoma, the Universal Dar es Salaam. You can see the Universal Dar es Salaam system are not universal acceptance ready. The Universal Dodoma, the same. The Institute of Rural Development and Planning, the same. So if these are the big universities, their application are not universal acceptance ready, that means we still have a lot to do to support our technical community to comply with universal acceptance. As we mentioned, if our system are not universal acceptance, we are missing a huge number of markets outside there. So it's important to comply to that.
Sure.
Asanteni sana, na kwa kweli na washukuruni na mkawe na usiku mwema. Asanteni sana. Tumebakiza dakika 3. Naamini hizi zitatusaidia sasa tunapofunga. Na mimi mwenyewe bado niko ofisini, lakini sasa ndio nataka nianze kutoka. Nashukuruni sana.
Thank you very much, Doctor.